Hi everybody, Shannon Johnson back with the Elements series, and today's discussion is on water. My apologies for the video feed looking messed up, but it's just a little crazy. It doesn't want to act right. So video feed is as it is. It's my side, not your side, just so you know. Hi Anna. So how are you? We are doing water, and Artie's already trying to get in here. Dude, lay next to. All right. Yes. Oh, that's awesome, Anna. Excuse me while we move Mr. Artie here. Oh, you're big boy. Okay, so the water element. This one was interesting for me because I found kind of some contradiction information, and we'll get into that. He's rubbing on my dragon. So, all right, let's get into some water element stuff. So the archetype for the water element is shapeshifters, thinkers, and artists are related to the archetypes. Shapeshifters because, of course, water is able to shift and change form. I know you want to be in this, okay? Just hang out over there, right there. Good spot, right there. Okay. So as in the other videos, I'm giving information from lots of different therapy theories, especially polarity therapy, because that's the electrical meridian currents in our body and how they relate to the element. Now we're getting into some of the ones that also relate to the chakra system. And it also relates to astrology teachings, horoscopes of the most traditional forms, as well as getting into the Chinese horoscopes and how it relates. So the starting off with some of the polarity therapy theory. Excuse me, as my cat. I have 4, but Artie insists on being in the videos when I'm doing these things, and he's really being a pain. He's just all lovey. So anyway, the yin organ in the body related to the water element is the kidneys. No surprise there, right? Because kidneys process the water. Its time of day for the body is 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And its yang organ is the bladder. And its time of day is 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you can see that the yang, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., the bladder, with the kidneys that are 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Let's talk a little bit about those channels first before I get into all the other listings. So the bladder channel, which is yang, okay, yin and yang. Yin is male, yang is female. There's always a balance in traditional Chinese medicine. But working with the electrical meridians of the body, the bladder channel functions in qi transformation. Okay, thinking about energy in the body, and for example, transforming and excreting of bodily fluids. Now, this is one of the longest channels in the body. Thought I would mention that because the bladder channel literally runs from up here on the head back, constantly down the spine. It's got 67 points. Down the spine, the tailbone, the leg, and into the foot, and ends at like the pinky toe. So it's definitely one that runs from head to toe, and it's a very important one, important electrical channel, right? Flowing of chi. Chi is energy, if you didn't know. Fully flowing, okay? It's sensitive to cold and damp and arty. And it's the effect of fear. It's out of balance with excessive sexual activity or unspoken feelings of suspicion and jealousy can all harm the bladder. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why you have to make sure you're processing that stuff and allowing it to flow on through and flow on out. Okay, the yang organ. That was the yang organ. Anyway, the yin, which was the kidney that I mentioned. So the kidney channel, the kidney is referred to the root of life. The two kidneys, and the kidney channel is called the root of life. And one of the reasons why is because it flows from the heart straight down the front over the reproductive organs. And obviously we have a spirit visitor hanging out because Artie has decided to go back there. Always a clue. Where Artie's looking, that's where spirit is. All right, so it's the root of life. It functions to primarily store essence. And I find that kind of cute because essence, the life essence, body fluid life essence, right, would be the orgasmic fluids of the female and the orgasmic fluids of the male, right? And it's to govern birth, growth, and reproduction. So like I said, this channel runs on the front of the body from right around here and goes straight down into the reproductive organs and down to not just our sexual parts, but also for the excretion of fluids through normal process. It's the kidney channel. Its secondary function is to control the bones, nourish the brain, govern water, and to receive chi from the lungs. So it's a pretty important alignment right there. And we always just assume this section of the body is related to the chakras, and it's not, because the meridians are an even stronger flow of energy chi throughout our system and helps to balance the physical organs and the physical body systems to create homeostasis. He's just having a lot of fun back there, isn't he? Okay, so let's get into a couple other parts of the water element, and here's where we get into a few of the contradictions in teachings, okay? And I'm going to tell you a lot of my primary information, just so you know, it is coming from this book, Complete Review Guide. This is for state and national examination boards for massage and bodywork therapists. Trust me, I haven't run this book inside and out to take boards. But it combines Western medicine, Eastern medicine, which massage therapists and body workers have to be very fluent in. So this is one of the resources I'm getting a lot of the information from. And then I also got some from websites that I shared a couple of weeks ago before starting this. And so that some of the websites is actually where I'm getting contradictions in information. Okay. So just want to throw that out there. All right. So the color for the water element. We all know blue, but it's also black. And since my computer is being funky with my video today, it's hard to tell that I do have a black shirt on to represent the water element. And I got the black cat who's hanging out today. There you go. Anyway, so colors to work with the water element, blue and black. Now, in other teachings, the color element is blue, light gray, sea green, and silver. But in the majority of different teachings, especially more of the older ones, it's blue and black. Okay? The emotions for representing the water element, the negative emotion that it's related to is fear. And the positive emotions, gentleness and calmness are positive emotions. For the mental aspect, it's also resourcefulness and wit. Where did I say C? Okay. I have my notes in front of me here, but I have contradiction notes going back and forth. So let's keep moving. Now, the sound is groaning. The sense is hearing, and the ears are related to the water element. It flourishes head hair, and it nourishes the bones. Now, we just said that in polarity therapy, part of that channel, right, the kidney channel, is to nourish the bones, control the bone system, okay, your skeleton. Its flavor on the tongue is salty, and its season, now here's another contradiction, its season is winter for water. Winter and darkness represent water. Now in other teachings, it says the season is autumn, but the majority do say winter. So I'm going to lean with winter. Not that you can't think about it as doing both, because isn't autumn moves into the winter. So there is where you can combine elements that go autumn and winter. Its direction is north. In other teachings, this is the direction is west. But I'm going to lean with north. Okay? Because one of the things that I've been looking at is what are some of the older teachings to newer teachings, Eastern to Western, and that's where some of those contradictions come into play. Okay, so and then with Feng Shui and Wu Jing, and which is one of the most oldest philosophies of traditional Chinese medicine, and then you have the Western side. So this is where I'm bringing up different systems. Okay, the planet, one of our favorite planets, don't we all just love a Mercury retrograde? And we just are finishing one. Mercury is the planet for the element of water. So I love that because Mercury is also the planet of communication in astrology. And we always deal with Mercury retrogrades where it seems like it's suddenly going backwards from the Earth's rotation, but yet it's actually got its own little thing. And if you think about water flowing, water doesn't just flow in one direction. Goes everywhere, right? The smell related is putrid. The animals related to the water element are shelled animals, and its life cycle is old age and conception. That's a nice little spin on there. Yeah, I don't want to look at that. Yeah. So there's also two forms of the water element. One is still and one is moving. And relating to our emotions, still water represents clarity, reflection, and search for truth. And moving water symbolizes social and commercial activity, communication, and cash flow. Cash flow. We're going to get into a little bit more about that too. So if you're needing to work on abundance, right, and we've already talked about abundance in a couple of the other episodes, right, of how to work with abundance related to the elements. Water is an important one dealing with cash flow, okay? I'll make sure that I'm not missing anything. Now, a couple of the other emotions related to the water element, intuition, divination, healing, and dreams. And even in one of the newer teachings, more Western side, it says the entire emotional base is part of the water element. But obviously, as I've been doing these series, you can see that there's particular yin and yang emotions related to every element within us. So, fear is one, calmness and gentleness is the opposing, the opposite for the water element. Now, the water element is also in our body as far as the flow of chi. It's sensitive to hereditary issues or weaknesses in the DNA, fear, excess sexual activity again, all right, or dysfunction. Overwork and aging are some of the ones that the water element is most sensitive to with our body. One of the other things that comes up a little contradictory, let me see, where's my other note for that? Because, as I said, in more modern teachings, we see the water element chakras as being the fourth, the heart chakra, and the throat chakra, the fifth one, our communication. But, thanks, Anna. But in Reiki, which is much older teaching, right, it's the sacral chakra, the sexual chakra. Okay, don't be afraid of calling it the sexual chakra. And this is one of the things I love because the sacral chakra is very orange, right? But its balancing color, it's complementary, it's blue. So there you have two different sides. Its purpose and function is relationships, right? So here we've got communication, we've got heart, and we've got sacral relationships. Okay, completely a mix. But in most of the older teachings, it is the sacral chakra that is related to the water element. So just putting it out there. You can work with all three, okay, because everything we're doing is about homeostasis. In Feng Shui, some of the things that are most important about the water element, a water fountain, right? Even something small like that helps to increase cash flow. Water fountains in your home, decorative water fountains in your home, flowing water, is for positive cash flow. And also, since we know in previous sessions, we discussed that the abundance corner of the home is the furthest left-hand corner from the front door. So I'm fortunate that for me, that happens to be where I'm sitting today in the kitchen. And so I have a fountain sitting there that is also representing the element of water, the element of metal, and it's also got in the good corner for positive cash flow. Other items, such as things that are black. All right. Rooms painted in very dark colors, balanced with beautiful lighting. The lighting represents the fire element. The dark colors painting on the walls actually represents water. Clear objects represent water. Mirrors is a classic water element. I mean, it's like the old-time water flowing mirror reflective water element. Also things that have a sinuous pattern, like abstract art, represent the water because they echo the way that the water moves through landscapes. So if you ever look at abstract art, you can see the flow, the melting. That represents a lot of what the water element does as it moves through on the earth. Let's talk a little bit about gemstones. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get a couple of these other pieces out of the way first. So the generating cycle, which is why I mentioned about the fountain that I have, the generating cycle has metal collects water and water nourishes wood. In the overcoming cycle, the opposing cycle, earth dams water and water extinguishes fire. So that's one of the ways that you want to think about it when you're putting items together to work with the elements to create a more balanced homeostasis in your home as well as for yourself. Remember, our body is almost all water. Water is a vital part of our body. So we also need to be looking at the type of water we're intaking to make sure that we are getting the most out of the nutrition of it, and it's not harming our kidneys nor our bladder, because not a good thing, right? Water is also the most yin of all of the elements, meaning it's the most masculine. Its motion is downward and inward, and we hear those words a lot. Its energy is stillness and conserving. I like that. It's also, now we mentioned that it's related to the planet Mercury. It's also related to the moon. Nighttime, also water. And the animal in Chinese traditions is the black tortoise, which I just love because he moves so nice and slow. They're ancient, but you could definitely see how the tortoise is related to the water element. Come on. In Chinese astrology, if you are born in a 2-year, meaning the birth year ends in the number 2, then you are yang, feminine. The yin year is 3. It also governs the Chinese horoscope of the pig, the rat, and the ox. Okay. Water element represents money and love. So that's something that we really want to look at in working with our home environment, office environment, any of those things, that you're making sure that you have the smooth flow of the water element incorporated into those spaces, which will increase cash flow, right? In Taoist teachings, water represents intelligence, wisdom, flexibility, softness, and pliancy. Now, its bad side in Taoist philosophy is overabundance, cause difficulty in choosing, making decisions, and sticking to it. Okay? And let's talk a little bit about some gemstones. Oh, some other objects. Let me mention that real first, because then we'll get into some gemstones, because I like gemstones. And then we'll talk a little bit more on the chakra side of it. Okay? So, other objects in the home that represent the water element: your refrigerator, fish aquariums, wine storage cases. Now, these are things, when you're wanting to work with the element of water in the home for different types of objects that you bring in, you're going to want them on the north, on the east, and on the southeast areas of the house, according to most Feng Shui teachings. And it's bad luck to put them on the south side, because south side is the fire element. Hi, Isa. Some of the stones, gemstones, okay? So like I said, a couple different teachings have a contradiction in the colors of the stones, but I'm going to go with the ones that are the most known and been around longest compared to some of the Western teachings. So blue and black stones, you want things like melanite, spinel, lapis lazuli is a fantastic, and we know lapis is a throat chakra stone, but it is a water element stone as well. Artie, back it up. Oh my goodness. Dude. Aquamarine, topaz. This is a raw topaz. Kind of hard to see. Tanzanite, turquoise, emeralds, opals. This is a man-made opalite. Dude, quit. And I know it's my camera on my side that's being shitty today. And coral. Some other water stones, and this is again based on newer teachings, more Western, would be amethyst, aquamarine, aqua aura, azurite, moonstone, celestite, blue tourmaline, lapis, pearl, sapphire, abalone, mother of pearl. Okay. And like I said, in some of the newer teachings, they're saying the color for the water element is blue, light gray, sea green, and silver. But the oldest teachings are really blue and black. Blue and black. So go with blue and black, I'm telling you. Another great one that isn't mentioned, because blue tourmaline was mentioned, but not black tourmaline. Black tourmaline, most awesome stone, very protective. I have it everywhere in my house. Something else that's as far as cash flow with the water element, your toilet in your home. So guess what? When you leave the toilet lid, the lid up, and open, it allows the cash flow abundance to go down, flush down the toilet. Artie, you're being such a butt. So that's a key. Make sure to close the lid on your toilet, because water is such a powerful element that, yes, it is one of the teachings to close. Artie, please do. To close the lid. So if you have men in the house that leave the toilet seat up, you need to tell them, quit that shit. Close that lid. You're flushing all of our cash flow energy right down the toilet. Yes, dear. So some other items of ways of incorporating, particularly the colors, the blue and black colors of water element into your home. You can even do something simple like this. This is a little treasure box, a little dragon, and it's a man-made, of course, but it's got a nice black sheen to it. Ah, Artie, you gotta just love them. So something simple like this is a good way to incorporate the color black into your decor. Working with the water element. You're killing me. Nobody wants to see your butt. Okay, you, come on, back down here. Okay. Telling you, he'll be back. Don't worry, he'll be back. This one is one of my favorites, my big dragon. What I love about this is that it's incorporating metal and water together, right? Because he's got the blue stones. He's completely made of pewter. So one of the things I like about it is that, right, metal collects water. So here he's got the blue gemstones on his wings. He's got his sphere that he's sitting on as his treasure. So he's a really nice representation of the two elements combined in a positive flow. For those of you that have seen these Reiki candles, I'm sure some of us have all seen these out and about at different stores. This one is black, and it is the Reiki candle of protection, right? Now, this one's got frankincense, rosemary, sandalwood, and clove integrated into its scent. But this is the Reiki protective candle, and it's black on purpose, right? So black is not a bad thing. Dark is not a bad thing. It's all in how we use it in the balance and how we integrate the elements with all the colors. Because as we know, at home, in spirit, the darker the colors of the soul energy represents its knowledge gained, its experience gained, its wisdom, its evolution. So soul colors get darker as we progress. That's at home, right? New information. For those of you that didn't know that. So I want to go back to the chakra thing a little bit, because I did double check. I'm going to pull out the chart again because I love this quick reference chart. But I do double check things. I don't take anything for granted, okay? Because you never know. Somebody might have put it down one way, and then you look and you end up finding all this contradiction to it, just like I did. Okay? Finding that in the older traditional Chinese teachings and Reiki, all of that, the water element is the sacral chakra. In newer Western teachings, the water element is the throat and heart chakra, right? Because we're seeing the blue chakra, we assume that it's water, okay? But it's not. You can, I'm going to say it again, you can incorporate all three to work together for the flow. You don't have to be individual, okay? So, again, I love Jamie Butler's little quick reference guide because it's so simple. And compared to looking at all of my different books, this one gives me a little bit easier thing. But one of the things that I do love, because she also has on here the complementary colors. Okay, so you have your traditional colors, and then what are the complementary ones? So the sacral chakra, its complementary color, the sacral chakra is orange, right? It's the second one above the root. Sexual organs, the sexual chakra. Its complementary color is blue. And then if you look at the throat chakra, that is blue, and its element is actually ether in Reiki teachings and many of the other traditional Chinese medicine teachings. And its complementary color is orange, right? If you've never noticed this, if you haven't done a lot of studies about the chakra system, right? We only ever see the flow up, but it also flows down. And that's where your complementary colors come in play, because we always see the one system going up, but the flow down, the complementary colors are their opposites. Here we go again, yin and yang. Everything has balance to it. So like we're used to seeing that they just really kind of flip from one another. They're a little bit more mixed up, but they do. So some of the things about the sacral chakra, it is a female chakra, right? And the funny thing is that even though, let's say this is the most yin, we're going to say it is the most yin. Water is the most yin, and yet the sacral chakra is yang, female. But remember, they always have rotations. But there again, the reproductive cycle is the sacral chakra's job, the reproductive system. And when we looked at the kidney channel, the one that runs in the front, what is its primary function? Its primary function is over our reproduction system. So some of the other stones to work with it, citrine, orange carnelian, foods. I love to talk about foods because it's something we take for granted. So to bring in more water element into your body, through your nourishment, through your foods, you would want to use sacral chakra and throat chakra, right? Because there again, the water element is ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury is our communication. If you look in horoscopes, into astrology, and do your full chart, please do your full chart. You'll be amazed what you'll find out about yourself. Our Mercury alignment, planetary alignment, is our communication, the chakra. So some of the foods that you would want to incorporate into your diet to bring more of the water element into balance would be things like apricots, carrots, peaches, pumpkins, tangerines. I think I said oranges. And you would want to bring in potatoes, plums, blueberries, asparagus, right? Asparagus is a very green looking vegetable, but asparagus is a communication Mercury aligned vegetable. It's also a superfood, big time superfood. If you're not eating asparagus, you really should. Just saying. And the statement for the sacral chakra is I feel. And yet, throat chakra is I speak. And yet, the organ, the sense for the water element is hearing and listening. It's the ears, right? So if you're not a good listener, you need more water element added in. Let's see, is there any notes I want to come back here? Oh, that's right. Cedar is another one of the scents that's related to the sacral chakra. Yeah, love that. So that's another scent to work with. Now something else that I have with me today that I didn't have last time. Oh, I mentioned black obsidian. Great stone, also part of water element because of its black color. Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. And I bring this up because a lot of us like to have plants. A lot of us like to work with nature. And this is another fantastic way to incorporate the elements into our home, outside on our properties, and help us to maintain a better homeostasis. So I bring this book up because as we've been talking in these different episodes, I've mentioned that every element has a planetary alignment, right? It has something more to it, right? So one of the things I love about this book is that in the back, it has it broken down gender, male, female. So if you're needing to work more yin or yang and incorporating plants and trees into your property or into your home, if you've got a lot of feminine energy in it, you're going to want to balance it with masculine. If you've got a lot of masculine, you want to bring in more feminine. Same thing about the planetary rulers. This book also has plants broken down by its planetary ruler and by element. So for example, okay, wood element, not wood element, we're doing water, right? Get my head straight. Anyway, so water, we said it is ruled by Mercury and by the moon. So if we're looking at plants to incorporate to bring more of the water element into our homes or into our property, you might be looking at things, or even for eating, okay? Almonds, Brazil nuts, celery, dill, fennel, lavender, lemongrass, lily of the valley, mint, papyrus, parsley, pecans, peppermint, pistachios, pomegranate, wax plant, flax. Everybody's on the flaxseed kick, right? Flaxseed, water element, ruled by Mercury. There you go. Clover, bittersweet, bean, bergamot, orange bergamot in particular. Those are all mercury. Those are all plants, foods ruled by the planet Mercury. For moon, you're looking at things like turnips, willow, wintergreen, potatoes, poppy, papaya, myrrh, peach, jasmine, lemon, lettuce, lilies, lotus, mesquite, grapes, gardenia, eucalyptus, cucumbers, coconut, aloe. Aloe is a moon. Cabbage, chickweed, camphor, right? So these are great ways to incorporate the elements into your property, bring more balance in your property, your home, and you. Because that's the whole goal, right? Homeostasis. It's one of our needs is to balance and find homeostasis. It's kind of one of my points about all of this, is to bring it all together so that way you can use different tools. I'm not an expert. I'm a learner just like you. I'm a student. But I love to integrate teachings, modalities, because the more that we integrate ancient teachings with current teachings, since we are now moving into the next wave of more activated DNA, these are ways that we can find balance and harmony in our home. And if you can wake up better every day, feeling better, better mood, that's the point, right? Enjoying life. So, if there's any questions, I'll go ahead and try to answer as best I can. And if not, then we're going to be done. And I'm going to go play for a little while outside. So, opportunity for questions. Trying to think, what else could I tell you? Maybe a couple of the aromas you could incorporate in your house. You can use them incense, resins, oils, or through other forms of products. But some of the other ones that you can incorporate are gardenia, sandalwood, ylang ylang. Okay. And if you guys don't know, that is one very sexual aroma. Ylang ylang. You can get it in oil, you can wear it as a perfume. It's actually incorporated into quite a few perfume formulas, but that's a good one. Orange as well. Sage, frankincense, eucalyptus. Okay, which those ones are related to the throat chakra. The others are related to the sacral chakra. So those are also good things to incorporate into the house, and you can do them in lots of different ways. So that's pretty much everything I have about the water element. Remember, drink plenty of water yourself because your body needs water. If you're looking puffy, looking tired, dehydrated, you need good water. But working with the water element into your home and into your body will really help the flow. And there again, Don't forget to close your toilet lids, because it flushes your cash flow abundance down the toilet. Oh, I guess I could add this in real quick too. Now, um, one of my favorite ways of connecting to spirit before I'm going to do even these types of videos, do a reading session, any of those things, is I take a shower. And that is my time to connect. It's also a great way to meditate because water has a super conducive energy to it. So it amplifies the energy that you're putting with it. And it's really great for meditation. You know, a lot of places have water fountains for meditations, but for me, I take a shower. That's my time to kind of meditate while I'm using the shower. Use the water to amplify my connection. Get a lot of answers, but it's also a great way to cleanse energy, cleanse your thoughts, cleanse anything stuck to you, as well as open up communication. So you can use soaking in the bath, you can use standing in the shower in a lot more ways than just getting your body clean. I think that's probably it. I hope you guys find this information helpful so that you can utilize all the various elements in a more balanced way. Maybe learn a few things you didn't know before, and find new ways of working with energy, the elements, and your body. Thank you guys for joining, and I will be back on Wednesday at 2 p.m. on Wednesday because I have something in the morning. So it'll be at 2 p.m. and that one is on air. We're getting down to about midway through the list, I guess. So we're getting there. I finish on May 2nd, I believe, with the last of the elements. So yes, we're taking the 4-element, 5-element theories and moving into 12-element theory is kind of the intent. Working with more tools to play with. So, bye. Thank you guys for joining. Enjoyed talking with you today, and find a way to bring more water into your life. I'll see you on Wednesday.